A number of banks were awarded in different categories at the 15th edition of the prestigious Ghana Banking Awards. Fidelity Bank clinched the coveted Bank of the Year award after winning the Best Bank in Corporate Social Responsibility and Trade Deal of the Year. The ceremony was themed 15 Years of Ghana Banking Awards, enriching a healthy competitive landscape in the drive for customer relevance in banking. But how could the awards translate into enhanced customer service? Well, Joy Business's Sheila Tamaklo explores in this report.
I have the pleasure of announcing to you the Bank of the Year at this year's 15th Ghana Banking Awards. With a resounding round of applause, please help me to congratulate Fidelity Bank Ghana.
So, what does this mean for the bank, especially in terms of customer service? The head of Brand and Corporate Communications, Mami Sawa Ejekum Ayi.
For us, it's an affirmation of what we've done in the last 10 years, specifically looking at our product and how we service our customers and providing the best that we can in terms of product, in terms of services and flexibility for our customers. So basically for us, it tells us we're on the right track. It gives us more energy to go forward with our plans in the coming years, and what we intend to become is a world-class bank. And that we hope that we are able to increase all customer channel touch points, to create convenience for our customers, and to provide them with flexibility in terms of products, what they want to invest in, how they want to invest, and everything that makes it world-class.
For the Divisional Director of Retail, Julian Opuni, the feat is only a challenge for them to take their customer service a notch higher.
Winning the award means that we need to reaffirm that faith that has been put through this process in us. We need to start looking seriously at staying on top of reviewing. I mean, retail, the strength of retail is really about the numbers, it's about the engagement strategy, and it's also about your product base. So this is almost like a challenge. We don't want to start going down the other way after having become Bank of the Year. So for me, or for myself and the team, it's about we need to start working on our people even more, increasing the capacity of our people in the way we serve our customers on the retail side. We need to start working on innovation around product development, which actually matches the needs of our customers even more, so that customers carry on being the ambassadors for the service that we offer.
Royal Bank was also adjudged the best bank in enterprise and corporate banking. The Senior Vice President, Marketing, Research and Corporate Affairs,
industry and service, customer care should be the best measure of the quality of service. So best banking customer care means a lot to us. Last year we won it, this year we are runner up. It still tells us that we are still in the frame of affairs as far as customer care is concerned, but it also tells us that others are catching up. And there's a lot more competition. Competition for me is good because it brings out efficiency, and the fight for the few customers that are available, allows banks, necessarily forces banks to do, to try and please the customer. If you have a customer and you are not treating them well, they have options. Gone are the days when customers even had to beg banks to open an account.
But how about the Bank of Ghana? What expectations by the regulator from banks as far as customer service is concerned? Well, the Deputy Governor, Dr. Johnson Esiama, spoke at the Banking Awards ceremony.
Anecdotal evidence on the banking industry in Ghana suggests to us that a significant proportion of customers have the perception that their banks do not provide helpful, proactive, and customized financial services to them. The danger for banks is that the trust advantage that they enjoy from their customers is fast eroding, with younger customers far more willing than their older generation to consider banking outside the traditional banking system. Traditional banks are challenged, therefore, to show that they can deliver value across varied products and channels and thereby avoid being overtaken by simpler and more nimble competitors.
William Durban, Fidelity Bank's Director for Inclusive Banking and Corporate Social Responsibility, also explains their recognition as Bank of the Year should significantly help advance government's agenda to rope in more of the unbanked population into the formal banking sector.
The government has put together a national financial inclusion strategy, and part of it is about trying to ensure that the infrastructure is in place and there's a lot of financial literacy, not just about how to save or how to borrow and things like that, but it's about the banking. People need to understand what a bank is and what a bank represents, and I think that's what these awards all mean. It will give people confidence in the banking system, which will then encourage better banking product.
This year's edition of the Ghana Banking Awards was organized by Corporate Initiative Ghana with collaboration from Joy Business and sponsored by Vodafone Ghana.
And that was a report put together by Joy Business's Sheila Tamaklo, and we're going to have a bit of a discussion around this. And obviously, it has to do with customer relations and banking. I'm joined in the studio by customer service consultant, Mrs. Margaret Techimaika. And Madam, thank you very much for joining us. And obviously, we can't do this without the banks. So we have a representative from one of the leading banks in the country. And joining me also in studio is Delali Gigienyo. He is marketing manager for Stanbic Bank Ghana. Delali, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think I would have to start off with you, Madam, first and foremost. For me, as a customer, the first thing I look forward to is the convenience. So if I'm going to the bank to deposit money, many would say the bank will take it, but if I'm coming to withdraw, it becomes a problem, and it sometimes leads many to question whether or not indeed the customers have the bankers have our interest at heart, if it's not just about the money. But you have done a lot of work as far as this very issue is concerned. You've done a lot of research into all these. Tell us some of your findings first and foremost.
My major finding is that all the banks do well when it comes to their external environment and the internal. In fact, they actually succeed in almost competing very well. But when it comes to the actual customer experience, the interaction, that's where most of them are woefully behind. Woefully behind because it looks like every customer interaction is not taken care of. Sometimes it's excellent, sometimes it's just not up to scratch. And we put most of our survey, we slated more about 80% on the customer experience, what we call the service quality, and you find that banks are not paying enough attention to that. And I would suggest to the banks that they should pay attention to how their staff interact with customers, because you would find that in as much as they have multiple channels, customers will still come in, because 10 years ago we thought that brick and mortar was going to go away, but now many banks have increased the number of branches that they have, which means there's still the need for customers to come in, like you said, to make a withdrawal, because if you're making a withdrawal of cash, you can't do that on your phone. You'd need to go into the bank, and if you're like me, you don't like to be kept waiting. And you would like to see that some effort is made to ensure that you get your funds quickly. I've been in a few banking halls lately, and you find that you're waiting. You are more or less playing with your fingers and saying, can somebody see that I look like I'm in a hurry? But it's like,
nobody says.
This is it. I mean, just be in it when it's your turn. I'm not saying I should be giving preference because it's me, but I'm wondering that if there are two people, you'll expect that a third person will come in to do something to show that we know that your time is, because we know that they have peak times and that they have slack low times. But if there's a peak time, customers expect to see some action being taken. Unfortunately, a lot of service providers are still taking things for granted. It's like it's business as usual. You can take it or leave it. But the customer wants to be able to tell you that I have options. There's another bank next door, if not 2 stops away. So if you don't get it, and I was told by some customers that they actually go to a place where you have several banks in a stretch, like a place like Rig Road, where you don't have to take another, you have to sit in a car, and they see that the banks are neck to neck, and some are responsive, others are just laid back.
Delali, let me come to you. I mean, you're a banker, you've been in this for a while. You're a marketing manager, big man. Now, this is the issue. They just heard awards. You won about 5 awards, that's Stanbic Bank. What would you say to the many customers who say, yes, you're winning the awards, but you're not necessarily feeling it? You're not doing what you expect of you, even though you're winning the awards.
Again, I can't start without congratulating the staff and management of Stanbic Bank for putting this awards, 5 of them together. Again, I would also quickly congratulate Fidelity Bank for coming tops in the banking awards as the bank of the year. It's important that we congratulate them and let them do more. And back to your question around what customers expect and what customers think vis-a-vis the awards that we've picked. Awards in itself is a stamp of approval, and whichever way you look at it, once you win an award, customers, especially your customers, want to associate with winners. And when you're a winner, expectations are very high of you. And in that vein, I think that what customers expect from us with our 5 awards is we keep doing and making sure in the next coming years we meet and exceed the expectations. Madam spoke about customer experience and what banks are doing to delight customers. I think for us as a bank, it's important to understand that we measure our customer experience almost every day to get feedback from our customers. We look at surveys on the market, which Madam has put together, and again we study that closely to understand how we can satisfy our customers each passing day. We've said many times that our customers really have confidence in us as a bank, and we are looking forward to serving them in various ways to delight them. We consistently say that we want our customer experience at every touch point of ours to be sweet and delightful. So whether you're going to our ATM or you're coming to our branch or using our mobile banking platform or even doing internet banking, we expect that your service, whichever way it's served to you, will be sweet and nice. With these awards we've won, which we have said, and again, the Ghana Banking Awards is a very credible award scheme, and we congratulate them for putting these awards together. We are looking forward at bringing in very innovative products into the market, not just to meet the customer needs, to make sure that we are meeting the regulators' requirement, and make sure we're at the same time satisfying our customers every time we serve them.
This is I mean, it appears, well, the banks think they are doing what they're supposed to do anyway. But let's take a look at international best practices and just oppose that with what we have here and what more these banks could be doing.
There's still a lot more they can do. In as much as it's good for them to be innovative, customers are expecting consistency. And elsewhere, where I haven't seen any bank do yet, is that if you have a check at midnight, you can credit your account from your phone. That would really make it for a lot of people if that can happen. Because when it comes to other channels, like he said, e-banking, ATMs and things like that, you have 24/7 access to your money or ability to do certain things. But when you actually have to deposit funds, sometimes you cannot trust a third party to do that on your behalf, and you may not have the time. So that would be a step forward. And I believe that mobile is the way, because the average person does so much on their smartphone. And so we want to go beyond just knowing the balances on our accounts to being able to do more on the phone.
So some would say the banks are trying this. I mean, there are now automated teller machines that are even accepting deposits.
Yes.
So some would say we are making some progress. But again, you need to look at the cost components. And for them, that may be the argument. They may not really have the funds to go digital, as we want them to.
I mean, because you asked for international best practice. Right. But I think that even elsewhere, people still go to banks. You find that the same bank will have several branches across a stretch, which is busy. If you go to New York, you'd find that the bank will have several branches on the same street, which means that people need to go in there to do certain things. However, in as much as customers are looking out for technology. They are looking for personalized service. They are expecting that banks will provide personalized service, and it doesn't always have to be face-to-face. If they need to talk to somebody, can they do it via phone? And if so, will they get a prompt response? If they have to do it by email, will they get a prompt response? Because customers are expecting that banks will be responsive. And I like the fact that Lali said that we are getting feedback. Sometimes banks collect the feedback, but they don't use the feedback. Customers say, why do I give you feedback if you don't use it? So it's the feedback which is really making the banks that are excelling do well, because they do get the feedback and they do something about it. Some of the things are quick wins. You can do it quickly. There are others that will take time to actually, like you're saying, if it's a cost thing, you've got a budget, you've got a plan and get there. But the customer is saying that whilst I'm sitting here face to face, do you know what my needs are? If I've just retired, do you know that I have just retired, or you have no clue? If I've just had a baby, am I the type of customer who will be thinking about the future of my children and their education?
Okay. In a bit, we'll be coming to that with specific reference to relationship officers and their relationship with all these customers. Obviously, that's supposed to be their core mandate anyway. But let's try and still speak of the awards, obviously. Like I said, Stanbic Bank won 5 awards. Congratulations. Fidelity Bank also won quite a number of awards, and indeed the prestigious award on the night. But the question, however, remains how these banks can leverage on these awards to get a lot more customers. Let's get some more now from Nano Champong. He's the chairman of the chairman of the awards board for the Ghana Banking Awards. He's joining us on phone. Nano Champong, good morning. Many thanks for joining us here on AM Business.
Good morning.
Right. So the key question, a question many want answers to, is on how banks can leverage on these awards. We have a representative here from Stanbic Bank, and they won 5 awards. But for me, as the customer, why should that be so much of something that should be an interest to me? If they've won 5 awards, and so what? How can the banks use this as leverage to get me to bank with them? Okay.
Now, you have to relate that to the citation that gave that award. Let's take, for instance, customer care. The award citation will say that it goes to the bank with the most satisfied customers for the year under review. So banks are assessed based on factors including friendliness, professionalism, and efficiency in dealing with customers. So if you win this category, it means that your customers that we surveyed have concluded that you have satisfied them as far as customer service is concerned. Now, if you didn't win, it tells you that you should up your game and try to get more, to give your customers more satisfaction. So the citation goes through all the 17 awards as to why you received that award. And if you did it, you passed on your back, and then you continue to do why you won more better still. If you didn't win, then it's urging you to re-examine your business activities, your dealings with your customers, especially in instances where we based on customer survey, and then move on from there. The thing with the awards is each of the 17 categories is assessed differently. Some are based on a combination of the financials of the bank as well as the customer survey. Some are based purely on the financials of the bank. For instance, if you take the performance of financial performance, now here is based exclusively on your 2 years account. So if you didn't win that category, then it means your financials were not as strong as expected. So you have to do something to bring your financials up. So it goes on, and each category has a different citation and a different way that we assess.
Let's take a look at these banks and
which bank?
I'm speaking of these banks, the banks we have here in Ghana. Now, there's this issue. There's hardly ever the case that you see a bank win continuously or being adjudged continuously as the bank of the year. Is that to suggest that usually these banks end up being complacent after winning once or twice, and then they just say, you know what, the customers think we are the best. They think we are doing well, so that's it. They go to sleep.
Yeah. Well, firstly, it is not factually correct that banks don't consistently win. If you take EcoBank, for instance.
Yeah, EcoBank has won on a number of occasions, yeah.
Yeah, if you take EcoBank, in the last 15 years, they have consistently awards as Bank of the Year, and so on. Yes, you get a few who have also not been able to repeat the formula. And that's why we always say that winning the award is not as difficult as maintaining the standards by which you were awarded that category. So if you become Bank of the Year, you will re-examine yourself. How did I come to be adjudged Bank of the Year? For instance, the formula for assessing Bank of the Year is based on 4 factors. First, how your corporate banking was assessed. Secondly, how your retail banking was assessed. Thirdly, the corporate social responsibility that you have for society. And then lastly, the financial performance of your bank. Now, if you score highest in these categories, then you are on the road to become Bank of the Year. Now, if you may have done very well in corporate social responsibility the year that you won, and then you rest on your laurels and think that, oh, we are doing well, so you will not. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. There's some noise in the background. So you are not, giving as much as you did the year before. Then you go down. If you did well financially with your performance and you don't repeat the formula that gave you that edge to top the other 28 banks, then again you go down. So it is up to the bank to leverage on why they won a category and see what they can do better than even the one they did before to maintain that award winning in the following year.
Nana Otu Champo, many thanks for your time on AM Business today. And he is the chairman of the awards board. They're just in the Ghana Banking Awards ceremony. Well, we're still watching AM Business right here on the AM show. And I think I should rather ask you, in his concluding remarks, he did speak of what more banks can do. And just before we went to him, we were speaking of something relating to the particular issues relating to relationship officers and their role. We could just try and speak about that briefly as we wrap up.
And that is a very key role. Even though we've got people with titles as relationship officers, I think that everybody in the bank, one way or the other, is supposed to manage the relationship with the customer. It should not be something that is the purview of just a group of people. But back to the relationship officers, I wonder whether some of them understand the role. They usually would have a portfolio of clients, and that's it. You may even get a letter or a note to say that this person is your relationship officer. If you meet them or you interact with them in the course of a year, you may be fortunate. There are some who are also
maybe fortunate.
Yes, yes, because some of them are only exist on paper, and then there are some who are constantly in touch with their customers. What they probably ask themselves is, how can we be in touch? Some customers need you to be in touch on a daily basis, whether by phone or by email or some other means. There are some also who just need you to check in from time to time to see whether you're satisfied and whether there are any issues. And that is where they need to know the customer. Who is my customer and what does my customer need? If the customer needs something to help them with their cash flow, are you aware or you just assume? I mean, last year, for example, when there were issues with power and other things and everybody said the terrain was hard, how many relationship officers or banks through their relationship officers ask their customers, how can we help? Perhaps what they did was, if you don't pay off this thing or you're falling behind, this is what we're going to do. So we're ready always to catch the customer rather than saying, how can you help?
Clearly.
I think Madam hit it right on the nail. And again, not to actually also mention exactly what I thought. The relationship banking model is really picking up in Ghana. Again, Madam said that for every relationship manager, you have a certain portfolio that you manage. Right. I must say that in terms of the ratio, you're looking about one relationship manager to about 200 customers, which is not to say that it's too many for a relationship manager. It's a lot of work, but it's manageable. Again, it depends on how you schedule your call invites and your visit to customers and your call plans and all. But for us as a bank in Stanbic Bank, we measure everything that our relationship managers do. So for example, for all our relationship managers, every week we call 10 out of your portfolio, your customers, to find out how you're doing.
So it's random.
It's random, and this is independent of the relationship manager, even though the calls are going on. Again, so we measure how many times you pick your customer's call, how many times you're calling your customer, how responsive are you respond to your customer's email, in terms of if you're on leave, what do you tell a customer, how you manage your relationship even in your absence and all. So we measure all that, and there are clear indicators for measuring what the relationship manager is doing. Have we achieved an excellent relationship model in Ghana? I don't think we have. It's a growing relationship model we're working on. And I'm sure with time, with the likes of some of these market indicators that are coming up and what customers say, we expect that we continue to raise the bar and expect to meet customers' expectations all the time with this model of banking.
Donald, many thanks for your time on AM Business today. And that was Delali Jijenyo. He's marketing manager for Stanbic Bank. Well, they won 5 awards at the just ended Ghana Banking Awards. Congratulations again. And I hope your relationship managers or officers will also treat us in the way and manner in which we expect them to. Okay. Anyway, and we're also joined in studio by Mrs. Margaret Techimaika. She's a customer service consultant, and she's been doing a lot of work as far as this very issue is concerned. She also joined us. Madam, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. And that'll be it for AM Business.